Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone it is, wherever you're in the world, it is your Lore Saviour. And last night, on the 31st of August, 2025, in the Everlord Telos, which might explain the question, why the fuck is it so sunny in fucking January? I record my videos way in advance. Anyway, on that night, as I've mentioned, I was having a conversation with my partner that sort of ended up landing on the very obscure VtM bloodline, the Vulgar, which I've probably mispronounced horrifically, and some weird purist is going to wank their little ego and tell me how I pronounced it incorrectly, but I don't care because it's French and that doesn't really bother me. But that aside, if you don't know who they are, the founder is mentioned a lot in the core material, primarily 2nd edition stuff, Bloody Britain, the Vampiric Encyclopedia, which I've reviewed on the channel actually. You can go and check that out in the video that's going to appear in the corner right about now. But you're some French guy, sire to Madame Guile, etc. so forth. You can go and read up about him in your own leisure. Like, the dude himself isn't all that important for this video, but it's just to give you a little bit of a background, because with the LARP element, when it was CPP that was in control, or CCP, I can't quite remember, of the general direction of the World of Darkness, because they owned it, because when White Wolf stood around for the first time, Jesus Christ, this is confusing. Dynamite Studios put out their LARP material, and they released in that a bloodline expanding from the Vulgar, called the Vulgar, that is pretty much identical to the Toreador Anti-Tribute, but they can, and that's the key words there, gain the first 2 dots of Vicissitude, treating it as an out-of-clan thing, meaning that they spend additional points to learn it. Not necessarily for a Samizi, but it probably will be a Samizi, but the point is that they have access to one of the most infamous powers in Vampire the Masquerade. And my partner had mentioned that there was a lot of people that was really annoyed by this because it made them really broken, too powerful. Now, annoyingly, this Reddit thread they are unable to find, but it's all like stuck in the back of their mind all this time. And so this video is not going to be focusing too much on that, because I would like to at least reference the Reddit thread that talked about this, and knowing the general direction of the White Wolf Reddit forum host, the modems are fucking weird and probably nuked it to fucking Kingdom Come by now. So I actually wanted to have a little conversation about extra disciplines for player characters, because in most games of Vampire the Masquerade, players are going to have 3 disciplines, and it's going to be the disciplines of their main clan. So, should you, as a storyteller, allow players to have additional disciplines from the get-go? And if you do, does it make things more broken? Does it make players too powerful? To which I say, no, I don't think it does. And I know that many people are now having their fucking sirens go off in their head because, oh, Power Gamer Lore by Night, the V20 stan that apparently he is, would definitely be saying the sort of thing. Well, no. Let's just remember for a moment where exactly I came into VtM. It was via V5. And what does V5 allow you to do? Oh, that's right! It allows you to choose out-of-clan disciplines as part of the core character creation process. So shut the fuck up and sit down, because that is going to be the basis in which I am running this entire video. It doesn't make the players more powerful unless it gave them specific modifiers that upped or decreased, well, it would be increasing in this case, the usage of said discipline. So if we use the Vulgar as an example, if they got a Vicissitude but they immediately get like, I don't know, 3 dots of bodycraft, and they have like a minus difficulty to roll, so I guess negative modifiers do apply pretty well here, I suppose. Yeah, I could see why that would make them too powerful. Right, if they were all at a certain generation, you had to alter the character creation process to factor that in. That would also make them too powerful. But more often than not, everyone in the group is going to be playing as the same generation with the same character creation process. So everyone has the similar playing field. They have, by default, neonate stats, right? So really the most that you're ever going to be rolling at once is 5, maybe 6 dice. So does that really make them more powerful? They just have an additional tool in their arsenal. That's like saying that they're a bit more powerful because somebody, through character creation, decided they're going to have a shotgun rather than a pistol. That doesn't make them more powerful per se. It doesn't make them broken. It's just they made their fucking character differently. There's also the painfully obvious factoid that in older editions of Vampire the Masquerade, which in this instance I'm classifying as anything pre-V5, allows you to have an additional discipline as a merit. So it's optional. So the storyteller could have a look at somebody's character and say, no, I don't want you to be having that because of X, Y, and Z. And those reasons may be valid or they may not be so valid depending on the perspective and the reasonings. But at the end of the day, the games master says no, and if the player really feels indignant about it, they can fuck off and find another group and be more accepting of their style of play, which isn't me trying to be stroppy about it. Like, people aren't going to mix well in certain scenarios, and if you're not going to be happy with something, or you believe someone's been unfair, then boot somebody or boot yourself, you know. It's just, that's just a matter of life. There's no point beating ourselves up about it. There's not a point trying to force a square into a circle or vice versa, depending on what sort of mood you're in. Like, you don't have to be doing these things. You don't have to be forcing yourself in a style of play that makes you feel uncomfortable, or you just have this banger concept, and if you feel your storyteller's being an arse, go and find someone else to play with. So if we return back to the meat and potatoes of the actual conversation, to say that having an additional dot here and there in a discipline would break the system would kind of imply that the addition of a merit, for older stuff at least, or the addition of a discipline with the predator type stuff with V5 would mean that the game's not balanced very well. That you could use any of these powers to bend the system to your will, and yeah, with over 5 dots of something you probably could. If you had a character that turned up with, like, I don't know, like 5 dots in Potent, Celerity, Fortitude, Temporis, or Tenebration, then I think we've got somebody here that's trying to cheat the system. But 1 or 2 dots in the case of the Vulgar with the Vicissitude stuff, that they would have to treat as an out-of-clan thing, i.e. it is not inherent of their bloodline, like the additional discipline merit would garner. It still presents a bit of a challenge to stop people from completely cheating the system. Making a clan discipline and giving them 1 extra dot would make things a bit more broken, I feel. Because the first 2 dots do have their limitations. The first dot of Vicissitude allows you to work wonders on your face, and then you can, like, do some other things, but you can't really make any weapons, and none that can do, like, serious damage anyway. Like, you can sharpen your nails and your knuckles a little bit, but nothing that's really going to give you a super edge. Again, it's effectively just giving yourself brass knuckles or a decent melee weapon. I know that I'm using the Vulgar as like the main example here, given this is sort of the inspiration for this video, but it can really be applied with any other discipline, like 2 dots of Dominate, 2 dots of Auspex, 2 dots of Obfuscate. There are merits and flaws of all these things, and with the Vicissitude example, you actually hurt yourself sculpting all this stuff, so it's not like there's a cost to what you're doing. It's not like you get a free pass. It's not like it's any easier for you. As we've talked about with the experience points, there's an actual meta-plot lore reason for your specific character as to why it is more difficult. And I think that's the really important thing, really. Like, if you have a character that wants to have this additional discipline, what's the reason for it? Who taught them? Why? Like, what's the function that it serves to the story? Obviously, you, the player, wants to have this particular discipline because it makes sense to the character and you want to play around with it a little, but what does it serve to the story? Like, how can you justify it existing within your particular game world? If you have a look at all the different NPCs of any City by Night book, you'll see that all these vampires have more than their usual 3 of disciplines. It's because they're old and they've had a bit of experience and probably learnt things here and there to keep up appearances so they can fucking survive. But what does Timmy the fucking neonate have an excuse for having an additional discipline here or there? Is it a mutation in blood? Is it a mentor? Or have you all been swapping things with your coterie? Which is something, funny enough, I don't see a lot of. Even with Sabbat games, because they get 4 dots to spend rather than 3. And if you take the modified Anarch rules from revised, the Guides to the Anarchs, which I did a review of along with the Camarilla and Sabbat, they actually get less stats to put into their skills and attributes, but they get 4 dots of disciplines. Does that make them more powerful or weaker? Does it make the Sabbat any more weaker because they have exactly the same character creation process, but they don't gain any background at all? But they get 4 additional dots to play around with to put in their disciplines. What does that say for the story? What does that say about those vampires? That's the thing I think we should be focusing on a bit more here. It doesn't make them any more powerful or weaker. It depends on the individual, the character, how you roleplay them and the scenario around them, and how you can mould that to fit the world. rather than the, you know, forcing the square through the circle job, because yeah, it may be fun a little bit to show off your strength every now and again, but you keep doing that and that's not going to be fun. That's just going to be really annoying both for you and everyone else, because then it will just come across as you being a bit of a silly power gamer. So it's a very fine line to draw, I feel. So yes, mechanically speaking, you have an additional power to play around you, which does give you a slight advantage. But again, it depends on the player and the role playing. And if you're really worried about that sort of thing, you can't really give yourself any merits or flaws to your character either, regardless of edition, because they do give you modifiers and flaws. They do give a particular edge to the character that you're playing. Sure, it helps them to cement them a bit more and give them some like interesting quirks to play around with. Be it, I don't know, supernatural oddities, some disabilities to make them feel more authentic, etc. and so forth, but I wouldn't say it inherently makes them better or stronger. Different aspects of life or unlife maybe, but they're not like a fucking Superman, a bunch of peasants, you know, there's still some balance for it, which is where I feel very strongly that players that have an additional discipline, 1 or 2 dots here and there depending on how they spend things, isn't the end of the world basically. Now again, it all depends on scenario, because if somebody's taken this merit and they've put more dots in this additional merit but have ignored the other ones, I think I would have a conversation with them. So, hey, why did you choose this clan and then spread the disciplines as oddly as you did? Would it make a lot more sense for you to be a different clan, to make other disciplines make a bit more sense, you know? But again, it's all to do with conversation, and it's all to do with finding the right groups and the application of the power as well. Like, and as I keep saying, I don't think that it by itself makes it too strong for players, providing that you all have the same character creation process, you're all on a similar footing. Like, I don't think that the Vulgar potentially, because again it is optional with its writing, you don't have to have Vicissitude. You like gain the first 2 dots, but again, there's very little that you can do with that to make it meaningful. It's only really from the 3rd dot onward that the whole vamp pussy of the Zamitsi just comes out on full display, teeth and all, and where they feel them, you know? And I suppose with a Toreador with this power, things can get really fucking wild as well. I'd actually argue that a Toreador with Vicissitude would have a lot more fun with the first 2 dots, but that's what I think. I'd love to hear what you think about all this in the comments below. Am I completely off the fucking market here? Or am I right? Am I based? Are you based? I'd love to hear your goated opinions down in the comments below. Now, if all this sounds pretty weird and wacky, I'm going to provide a whole host of Vampire the Masquerade books to you to go and purchase and play with your friends, buddies, or bullying yourself, using my own solo rules and tools. So you can play these games bullying yourself, or use them to craft a game with your friends, or strangers online, or whatever fucking takes your fancy. Now, the absolute based amongst you are going to purchase those specific items with those links in the description below. Now, if you do that, I get some of the money back because I'm an affiliate on DriveThruRPG, and that sort of coinage helps to develop the channel further and provide awesome shit for you. So what that means is that you get books and materials, I get books and materials, and you get content for free. So if you're doing the math correctly, or at least better than I am, it's really all in your favour to be doing this. What if you got those stuff already and you want to continue to support your Lore Saviour financially, or want to buy something else because you're truly goated? Well, what you can do instead is copy the affiliate code in the description below, paste it in the URL of any DriveThruRPG purchase, whether it's a PDF, a Games Master screen, a physical book, whatever, and then add it to your cart. You can support me financially that way as well, which is absolutely pog as shit. Like choosing to RP the Vulgar bloodline, or any bloodline, or choosing the additional discipline merit, which gives you 4 disciplines in total. Financially supporting the channel is absolutely optional, because I know that's not available for everybody to do for one reason or another, and I don't want people to feel pressured that I'm wanting to make them do this sort of thing. If you can and want to do that, that's absolutely amazing, and you get extra brownie points for it, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it if you can't, you know? It's there if you can, but if you can't do that, that's absolutely fine. But what you definitely have to do, you know, because when you're building a character, you've got to put your 3 discipline dots in most scenarios, and there's 3 things that you've got to do to complete the character creation process for this video. You've got to like this video to tell me you love shit like this. You're going to subscribe to the Lore by Night channel, and then you're going to share this video with any and everyone who loves what I do, and then I'll see you on the next upload, whatever that may well be for you. Until next time, farewell.